This is episode 189 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Bishoy Habib. Bishoy is the managing partner of Levacy Legal. He is also a co-founder and partner of CapStar Investment, a real estate investment company focused on off-market opportunities with an emphasis on sourcing land for builders and developers. Also the co-founder and broker of CapStar Real Estate, an entrepreneurial real estate brokerage in Tampa Bay. Bishoy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's always great having people with the attorney background in there. We've had maybe probably like 5 or 6, including myself. But I think I've found, and I want to get your take right away, even though you're still active in both, don't you think having the legal degree really helps you when it comes to just real estate negotiation?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely gives me a leg up in a lot of senses. I mean, obviously in the legal sense, but at the same time, I think there's just the kind of a defer, people defer a little bit more. There's kind of this level of like, oh, well, yeah, he must know what he's talking about. And I do, but it helps in negotiations psychologically too.
Yeah, I've always found it when I'm just acting, because I don't practice anymore, but when I'm acting as a buyer or something and I'm in a transaction and then an attorney on the other side snaps back, it's like, well, I'm an attorney. I'm just, oh, by the way, I'm an attorney. That's just like one of those things I like to throw in. I'm sure it's different for you, but I'm sure you're involved in transactions where they don't know right away that you're an attorney.
I kind of like that sometimes because people will BS you if they don't think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
they'll go on that and then it's like, wait a minute, I actually know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you, similar to me, how your dad introduced you to real estate. What's your first memory of real estate and what interested you about it when you were younger?
My first memory is driving around in my dad's car when I was younger. I'm probably 5 or 6, less than 10, and just going to all his properties. That's all I remember. He was doing real estate before I was born.
Yeah.
He's the immigrant story, moved here, didn't even know what the word real estate meant, and then learned it and did it full time. I always loved the freedom and flexibility that he had to make his own schedule. That's really, as somebody who's not a rule follower,
Yeah.
ironically, as an attorney, that was always appealing to me. I don't really like being confined to, you have to do this at this time. So, that always appealed to me. And then I negotiated my first commercial lease at the age of 15 with my dad at his building. He was the landlord and it was the state of Florida was the tenant. And I don't know how much negotiating I actually did. I mean, I was always good at reading and writing and stuff. This was back when you had to fax the red lines over and you'd hand mark it and stuff. It wasn't like Microsoft, like you do on your computer now. But we did that, I thought that was awesome. And then I was like, well, I definitely want to be in real estate because I don't like medicine where the rest of my family was.
It must be hard for you then when somebody comes to you and either believes they've been scammed in a deal or just really made a bad decision. When you read the paper, I'm sure you get this, people send me deals and I'm like, you should have seen this. It's all right here. Like, it's not good. It doesn't even have the stuff that you're saying. How do you handle that when you know a lot about real estate, but it's actually like the client, it's just like, you should have seen that one coming. Or we know from being attorneys, like if they're bankrupt, like we're not getting money. They're gone.
I would say there's 2 different categories. And the one category is if someone's been scammed completely.
Yeah.
Obviously I hate that, but I love that case because we are going balls to the wall. We are going to, you're a prosecutor again, like you feel this more than I do.
Yeah.
So if it's a scam city, come on over. Like we will find this person. Now, obviously always the question right after that is like, what are we getting out of this? Right. Do they even have anything that we could go after?
Is there something we can get? A lot of times they do though, because scammers are running different things. So there's another pocket somewhere and that's where it gets fun.
Yeah. So that's one aspect. Now, the other one is a little bit more painful. Someone comes to me and it's not like they've been scammed. It's just like they made a really stupid decision and it's very obvious. And it's like, you should have got some paperwork in place before you signed this, before you wired someone $500,000 on a handshake agreement that there's no way to, like, it's your word versus his word, So those are a little bit tougher. I have a doctor in mind a client of mine that's a doctor and I don't know what he's making. He's probably making over $1 million a year on his W-2. So he didn't really care, but it was $500,000 that he sent to someone and they said they were going to do something and they didn't. And it's like, it's not even black and white though. It's gray. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I could help you, but again, like it's kind of on you, so
Yeah.
that's always a tougher. So let's give some action points to the audience here, right?
Yeah.
We get to that point and people just want to nitpick just to nitpick. And, it's emotions and it's ego. And, that's the hardest thing as an attorney is just to manage the personalities and the emotions sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a field like real estate where deals can fail because of ego much more. Like real estate is so ego based, the more that even on the largest scale, you can see $100 million deals. And I'm like, I think they looked at me funny over the table.
Oh, it's way more. So smaller deals are emotion, bigger deals are ego.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
they're different things.
Good
Yeah,
point.
they're different things, but it is very much ego. Cause guess what? All the guys swimming in that pool, the big fish in the small pond, they can close any deal anytime. Right. They don't need X, Y, and Z, but they may choose not to, or they may choose to play games. And I'll tell you this. First of all, negotiation's my favorite. Like that's what I love doing.
Too.
That's what I'm best at. Like I love putting a deal together. I love fighting for my clients.
Yeah.
On the transactional side. But I used to hate the mind games. I used to not understand. I'd be like, this is so stupid. I'll be honest with you. The older I get now, I'm not saying I like them. I'm going to say I understand them. Psychologically, I understand why people move the way they move when they're at that level.
Yeah.
It's in order to kind of get their way or increase their leverage or their position. And so when you kind of change your perspective, it's very interesting. It becomes a big chessboard and you're like, well, they did this because of this. So how do we counteract that? And how are they going to respond to that? And I honestly, it's fundamentally different from how I viewed it as a young attorney, where I was like, why are they doing this? They're supposed to do this. This is stupid. The contract says this is black and white. And now you're like, well, this is what's happening. And so it becomes a lot more fun. And maybe I sound weird right now, but that's fun to me. Is people are doing out there in terms of saving lives or, police or even teachers, honestly, that are kind of, so for me, it never really stressed me out or anything. It's fun. It's a game, when you look at it like that, there's less pressure, you perform better. And I think you have a higher chance of success. Better than I do about this. I mean,
No, I love it. I think we're the same type of sickos though, because we just I love the game of it, but I also love the transactions where like everybody's nice and everybody's on the same page. The buyer's happy, seller's happy, both commercial sides are like, hey, this is a win-win. And I think if everybody just focuses on deals, even when you're doing off-market deal sourcing, everything's really about the smoother the transaction will be if you're looking for a win-win. Hey, you're in pre-foreclosure. I can help you with that. I'm not trying to screw you out of your house, but if I pay you, you owe 290. If I pay you 300, now you have 10 grand to move. Everyone else is offering you 260. Hey, now we're all happy. Maybe it's not the best scenario that they're in pre-foreclosure, but now you're not getting a foreclosure on your record. So they're like, I think to me, like real estate, and I'm sure you can attest to this, it's all about finding creative solutions to the problems that people are having. And the reason why people like get crazy in transactions is because someone feels like they're not being heard, or they're being quote disrespected, look, leaving a TV in a house is probably just an oversight.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you said creative deal structure is one of my favorite things to talk about. And we could talk about that, all day, but I'm with you. I mean, you just got to find a solution that makes sense. You got to, the most important thing is you got to listen. Don't listen to what they're saying, hear what they're saying, listen to what they're saying behind what they're saying, right? So they may tell you, we need this money. Well, what do you need the money for? Well, what if we could solve that problem in a different way? And so you didn't need all this money up front, right? So it's just really getting to the core of the problem. And I think a lot of people just struggle to really get to the bottom of what the issues are and just don't have the patience or personality to negotiate. That's what I've seen.